He is the unforgiving face of Hollywood action, a cinematic force whose films have raked in over $8 billion across the globe. He has laid siege to the Fast and Furious saga, orchestrated war on the Expendables battlefield, and stared down leviathans from the prehistoric deep. The name is Jason Statham. Yet, beneath the granite jawline and box office triumphs lies a history written not in glamour, but in grit and pain. A youth spent peddling counterfeit perfume on the unforgiving streets of London, 12 years dedicated to an Olympic quest that concluded in soul-crushing failure. A 7-year love affair that fractured right as the spotlight found him. More than one brush with death, survived only because forgotten instincts dragged him from the abyss of a watery grave. And today, at 58, with the phantom ache of old fractures and punished joints a constant companion, Jason Statham is living proof that some triumphs are paid for in blood. If this man has ever made your pulse thunder with a stunt that defied death, hit the like button as a salute to the diver who remade himself into a warrior. It is a cruel irony when a legend's origins are rooted not in wealth but in want. Jason Statham entered the world on July 26, 1967, in Shirebrook, Derbyshire, England, born to a mother and father who understood hardship as a daily reality. His mother, Eileen, was a professional dancer. His father, Barry, was a street corner merchant, moving whatever merchandise he could. Imitation jewelry that looked hollow in the go, harsh light of day, perfumes with a chemical tang, timepieces that surrendered to stillness within a week. The grip of poverty was absolute. Nothing was ever enough. Before he was even 14, Jason was at his father's side on those very corners, mastering the brutal calculus of the con. "My name is Billy, not silly," he'd declare with a practiced grin, pushing fake wares on hurried passers-by. The shame was a fire in his gut, but going hungry was a worse fate. While other kids talked about vacations, Jason was tallying the meager profits from knockoff fragrances. While they were playing games, he was navigating the gray economy, his hands becoming tough, his spirit becoming tougher. But in that crucible of hardship, a different kind of strength was being forged. After dark, Jason found his sanctuary in martial arts. The structure became his salvation. Chinese, kung fu, the relentless power of kickboxing, the sharp discipline of karate. Every stance had a purpose. Every strike, a demand for precision. In a life that felt like a storm, the martial arts were his anchor. In a world where he was a pawn, training gave him sovereignty. The dojo was the great equalizer, a space where poverty was irrelevant and only dedication mattered. And then he found the water. It was almost a fluke. At 15, he realized he possessed an instinctual elegance while airborne, an absence of fear in the face of a long fall. He earned a place on the British national diving squad. And for the first time, Jason Statham had a dream that belonged only to him. Not about hustling, not about getting by, but about ascending. For 12 years, Jason gave it his entire being. He made the 10-meter platform and the 3-meter springboard his world, shaping his body into a finely tuned instrument. He trained before the sun was up, then again after his day was done, sacrificing weekends to chase. Perfect spins, flawless entries, and powerful takeoffs. He represented England at the 1990 Commonwealth Games in New Zealand, swollen with a pride so intense it almost suffocated him. In 1992, he secured a 12th place finish at the World Championships. 12th, so close to the peak you could taste it, yet still an impossible climb away. What becomes of a man when he pours his entire soul into something, and it's still not enough? Jason faced the Olympic trials twice, in 1988 and again in 1992, and on both occasions, he failed to qualify. The gap was razor thin. The devastation was immense. He would reflect on it later, stating, "That failure is something I still haven't shaken. It's like a heavy weight I carry inside me. All that time, all that brutal effort, and he never reached the one arena that defined his world." The Olympic flame flickered out for him, slowly and painfully. Each failed bid etching new scars on his ambition. When the diving world could no longer hold him, Jason fell back into the familiar grind, but a modeling agency named Sports Promotions noticed him during a session at the Crystal Palace National Sports Center. His powerful physique was a commodity for commercials. He was signed by Tommy Hilfiger, Levi's came calling. French Connection chose him to represent their entire brand in 1997. But even with his image-gracing glossy pages, he was still on the street corners moving counterfeit jewelry. As he would later admit, I had no choice but to walk in my father's shadow. It was pure street performance. You had a crew, people planted in the crowd, others acting as lookouts for the authorities. In the daylight, Jason modeled high-end fashion. In the shadows, he sold illusions. Then came 1997, the pivot point of his entire existence. During his work with French Connection, Jason crossed paths with a budding director named Guy Ritchie, who was trying to cast a gritty crime film titled Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Ritchie got wind of Jason's history, the street-level cons, the hustler's life, the black market existence. He sensed an undeniable authenticity. He challenged Jason to audition by playing an illegal street hawker, trying to sell him a piece of fake jewelry. Jason didn't have to perform. He just had to remember. Ritchie gave him the role of Bacon, a sharp-witted player in London's seedy underbelly. The part paid Jason $5,000, about $6,500 today. It was next to nothing. It meant the world. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels became a phenomenon, an unexpected hit that pulled in over $80 million globally and announced Guy Ritchie as a filmmaker to watch. Far more critically, it unleashed Jason Statham upon an unsuspecting world. I feel like I was born this evening, Jason reportedly said, choked with emotion on the night of the film's premiere. He was 31 years old, an eternity in Hollywood years. But for him, at long last, a new chapter was beginning. Still, fortune did not come overnight. 2 years on, Ritchie cast Jason once more, giving him the role of Turkish in Snatch, where he shared the screen with Brad Pitt and Benicio del Toro. That film was a blockbuster, pulling in more than $80 million and solidifying Jason's identity as an emergent action hero. His pay was £15,000, roughly $19,000, 3 times what he made before, yet a pittance compared to the salaries of his famous co-stars. During that initial period, Jason occupied a strange purgatory. He had a famous face, but an empty wallet. In 1997, he started a relationship with model Kelly Brook. She was 18, he was 30. For 7 years, they built a shared existence. Jason's star was finally ascending. The Transporter in 2002 was the game changer, landing him a $750,000 payday. But as his fame ignited, his life at home began to burn, shattered. Kelly would later confess, "I shelved my own ambitions. My MTV job was gone, all to follow Jason to the US. I had a front row seat to his explosion while my own world imploded." Jason was devoured by the machine, by the ceaseless hunger to become a leading man. Kelly was left waiting in the wings for a man who never came home. "I felt utterly invisible," she admitted. "The love had been starved out of me because he never championed me the way I had championed him." In 2004, the engagement was over. "Why would you do this now?" Jason allegedly demanded. "Think about it. I'm a movie star. I have millions. Why now?" Kelly's reply, however, was absolutely gutting. "You have no idea who I am. You were never even here." That rejection carved a hollow in Jason. He found his refuge in violence and velocity. The Transporter films kept coming. Crank in 2006 was a testament to his appetite for unhinged risk. The Bank Job in 2008 revealed he could carry the weight of drama. Death Race crowned him the undisputed action king for a new era. Then, in 2010, Sylvester Stallone himself tapped Jason for The Expendables. He became Lee Christmas, a former SAS operative. "That was a pinnacle moment for my career," Jason reflected, "but it came at a staggering cost." Jason had a self-imposed mandate to perform every stunt, a decision that would bring him to death's door again and again. His body buckled under the relentless assault, ribs splintered in car wrecks, consciousness stolen in fight scenes, bones shattered from brutal falls. Each film etched new scars. By the time The Expendables 3 started rolling in 2013, Jason's body was a living archive of agony. Then came the one accident that was supposed to be the end. They say a brush with death can change a man. For Jason Statham, it was a brutal negotiation with destiny. The Brush crew was set up in Varna, Bulgaria, perched on the precipice of the Black Sea. The stunt required Jason to pilot a 3-ton flatbed truck at blistering speed, then slam the brakes and spring out to fight. A standard stunt, they called it. Perfectly safe. Terry Crews and the rest of the cast were nearby, casually enjoying smoothies, just waiting for their cue to climb aboard the truck. But on a practice run, the brakes died. I hit the brake pedal right where I was meant to stop, Jason later recounted to Jimmy Fallon, and nothing. The truck keeps going. It sails right over the dock and into the Black Sea, with me at the wheel. He was plunged 60 feet into the dark, frigid depths. The cab flooded in an instant, the water hitting him with the force of a tidal wave, pinning him to his seat. He was weighed down by heavy military boots, a gun belt, and a tactical vest props meant to create an image, but now they were anchors conspiring to pull him into the abyss. The water was a muddy, freezing black. He was blind. The truck was sinking like a stone, burying itself in the ocean floor. For a fleeting second, raw panic took hold. His gun holster snagged, trapping him. The sheer weight of his gear was dragging him down. His lungs screamed for air. He thought, so this is it. 60 feet beneath the surface of the Black Sea, entombed in a sinking truck, drowning in the suffocating darkness. And then, something deeper took over. His body remembered 12 years of competitive diving, a lifetime spent underwater. His training seized control. He tore himself free from the holster, blindly found an escape route, and clawed his way through liquid midnight toward a surface he could only pray was there. I just barely made it, he would later say. I've spent a lot of time scuba diving, but that was a razor's edge between living and dying. It was the nearest I've ever come to drowning. Terry Crews, watching from the dock, was frozen in horror. Everyone is just screaming, he remembered. I'm in tears. And then, a miracle. He just appears, swimming to the surface, and the truck has vanished. We were all supposed to be on the back of that truck. I was supposed to be there. Let me tell you, Jason Statham is the genuine article. But the most astounding part was what happened immediately after. Jason dragged himself from the water, got a fresh set of clothes, and climbed into a replacement truck to do the take for real. I just changed my clothes and got straight back to it, he said, treating a near-death experience like a trivial delay. He would later quip that the most serious injury from the Expendables 3. It began with the cruelest irony, the sharp crack of a shoelace giving way in the opening shot, a chilling echo across time. The specter of a boy who had poured his soul into the Olympic diving pool, a ghost who was denied his chance to reach the pinnacle, was ultimately spared by the very discipline born from that failure. Had I not been forged as a professional diver, Sylvester Stallone later mused, we would have been swallowed whole, burying him. Because Jason is an Olympic-level athlete, that skill got him out. The one discipline that had denied him glory was the very thing that cheated the grave. Yet the incident left scars no one could see. And this symphony of suffering was far from over. Every stunt, every impact, every brutal fall had been waging a quiet war of attrition on his body. At 58, Jason Statham's body is less a temple and more a battlefield, mapped with the ghosts of broken bones and shredded cartilage. The ribs were the first to go, fractured in a Transporter 2 car chase, cracked open again during Death Race, utterly shattered in an Expendables brawl. Now, they are a phantom ache that sharpens with the cold, sending daggers of pain through him if he dares to breathe too deeply. The concussions were a slow erosion of the mind, one from a punch that landed wrong, another from a hard fall in crank, a third when his skull met steel in a fast and furious wreck. Now, the headaches arrive unannounced, warping his vision, twisting sound into knives. His wrists are a testament to 1,000 violent impacts, ligaments torn from breaking his falls, bones fractured while blocking punches, nerves so damaged that his hands sometimes go numb and weak for no reason. His neck has been whiplashed so many times the vertebrae audibly grind, sending lightning bolts of agony down his spine. There are mornings he wakes up unable to turn his head. There are nights he can't find peace from the relentless throbbing. Chronic pain is a ghost that's always with me, he confessed in a rare display of vulnerability. People see the action hero on screen. They don't see the guy who needs a bag of ice to get through the evening, who relies on a cocktail of pills just to find a moment's peace, who wakes at 3 in the morning because his own body won't grant him rest. Some men wear their pain like a medal. I just carry mine quietly in all the places the cameras will never get to see. But Jason Statham never stopped. He entered the Fast and Furious universe in 2013 as Deckard Shaw. By 2019, he was co-starring in Hobbs and Shaw, commanding a salary of $13 million. The Meg, in 2018, devoured $530 million at the box office on a global scale. His powerful alliance with Guy Ritchie forged on with masterpieces like Wrath of Man and Operation Fortune. In 2024, The Beekeeper alone netted him $15 million. But then, a different kind of salvation arrived. In 2010, Jason's path crossed with Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, a titan of the Victoria's Secret runway. With her, he discovered not public approval, but profound tranquility. She fell for the man who hadn't forgotten the grit of peddling counterfeit cologne on street corners. By 2016, Jason asked her to be his wife. In June of 2017, their world was changed by the birth of their son, Jack Oscar. Then, in February 2022, their daughter Isabella completed their family. The man, who once relentlessly pursued Olympic gold, now joyfully chases his own children across the grounds of their Beverly Hills estate. The warrior who stared death down in the Black Sea now patiently teaches his son the art of swimming. His masterful real estate ventures have yielded millions in returns. His garage is a pantheon of automotive power, featuring a McLaren Senna valued at $1 million, alongside a stable of Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and an Aston Martin. Now, at 58, Jason Statham is more than a celluloid hero. He is a living monument to human endurance, one built from the fragments of broken bones and shattered aspirations. His personal fortune is estimated at $100 million. His car collection boasts a McLaren Senna worth $1 million, a ferocious Ferrari F12 Berlinetta, a demonic Lamborghini Murcielago, and a sleek Aston Martin DBS Volante. His collection of watches includes Patek Philippe timepieces with values soaring into the hundreds of thousands. The films that bear his name have commanded over $8 billion across the world, cementing his legacy as one of the most bankable titans in the history of film. And yet, the man is defined not by what he possesses, but by what he contributes. Jason champions Together for Short Lives, a foundation committed to bringing comfort to children facing life-ending illnesses. He fights for stunt artists to gain the recognition they deserve from the Academy Awards, calling them the silent warriors who risk everything for the sake of cinematic magic. He himself endures a grueling 6-day-a-week training regimen, not out of vanity, but to pay homage to the vessel that has carried him through fire and flood. The roar of the crowd is temporary. He once observed, "Trophies gather dust, but the lessons you absorb when you have absolutely nothing. When you are hustling fake watches on a city block just to get a meal. When you are a 12-year-old boy launching yourself off a platform just hoping to be seen. When you are 31 and you finally get your first real shot. When you are fighting for your life beneath the waves. Those things, they are permanent." From the back alleys of London to the crushing depths of the Black Sea and the dizzying heights of Hollywood, Jason Statham's life is a testament that our ambitions do not simply die. They are reborn. The Olympic podium that eluded him was transformed into a global stage where an $8 billion box office declared his value. Diving career that ended in heartbreak became the very instinct that saved his life. The destitution that was once his shame became the inferno that forged his soul. If the story of this man's journey strikes a chord within you, leave a word of respect for the kid who sold knockoff perfume and became a king. And wherever you find yourself in this world tonight, may you be granted the sheer nerve to always take the leap, especially when the water is pitch black, when the surface seems a universe away, and when the entire world is screaming at you to quit, because sometimes the most profound victory is just breaking the surface to take another breath.